Alright. I needed that.
Are you ready to hear opinions from two guys who probably shouldn't be giving their opinion on anything? Well, I'm Mitch.
And I'm John.
And we're ready to sound the off.
Alright, welcome to Sound Off. Today is August 12th, and I'm really excited about this episode. Today, August 12th, 2016.
It's my birthday.
More importantly, happy birthday, Mitch. Leave me some love in the comments. So today is the 25th anniversary of probably one of the most iconic albums in not just metal music, but probably in rock and roll
Music in general.
Music.
Not even rock and roll music.
This album that we're about to go over is the 20th most sold album in music history. Again, not just rock and roll, in history altogether. Today we are talking about Metallica's self-titled album, also known as the Black Album. Yeah, it's been 25 years since that album came out. Crazy. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk a little bit about Metallica, and at the end of the day, at the end of the video, I'm going to rank the songs from Metallica's Black Album.
Hell of a job.
Yeah,
Hell of a job.
It's kind of hard to rank 12 masterpieces. So a little bit of a brief history of Metallica. They were created in 1981. Lars Ulrich, their drummer, put out a newspaper ad looking for band members because he kind of just wanted to kind of play around with music. So he put out an ad, and James Hetfield, the lead singer, also he does rhythm guitar, of course, answered the ad, and they just kind of started playing together. So they put out another newspaper ad, and it was answered by none other than Dave Mustaine himself. Dave Mustaine obviously went on to form Megadeth, the rival of Metallica, as you could say.
Could you imagine Dave Mustaine in Metallica? Wow.
I don't think it would have worked.
It's so weird.
It would have been a lot different, to say the least. So yeah, so they started with three of them. They'd done a couple shows around town, but they recorded their first single, "Hit the Lights," that ended up being on the album.
That was their first single.
That was their first single in 1982. And then they were actually picked based on, they've only done, at this point, one fairly popular show. And they were actually picked by the English metal band, Saxon. I'm not sure if you ever heard of them. But they were fairly popular back then. They were actually picked to open up for Saxon on their world tour for a couple shows. So that got them a lot of exposure. And they just kind of done that with just some random bassists that they had, throughout town. The original bassist for Metallica was Cliff Burton, a fantastic bassist. They actually found him in a nightclub there in LA, where they were just going to see a local band called Trauma, and they were actually really impressed with Cliff Burton because as a bassist he was using a wah-wah pedal, which wasn't really
innovative at the time.
Right. It wasn't really something that was known to happen quite often. They offered him the job, and he was kind of reluctant at first. It took him quite a while for him to decide that he wanted to join, but he eventually joined. And then a year later, they went on and they moved to Rochester, New York, so that they could really record their first album, which eventually became Kill 'Em All. But fun fact, the original name of this album was intended to be Metal Up Your Ass. Obviously, the record label wasn't having that, so that's where they got the title Kill 'Em All. They just kind of switched that up. But right before they went into the studio to record this album, there was a lot of controversy with their then guitarist Dave Mustaine. He was going through a lot of drug and alcohol problems. So they ended up kicking him out of the band, and they later found, later that day actually, they signed Kirk Hammett, who is their now guitarist. Fantastic guitarist. He's
Sorry, I hate to stop you, but that's just crazy that you kicked Dave Mustaine after your band.
Yeah.
I obviously it worked for him, but just
Yeah, it worked for both of them, really.
yeah, it did. But it's so funny.
But yeah, they picked up Kirk Hammett later that afternoon, and the four of them actually went on to put out some of the greatest albums in metal history. You had Kill 'Em All, which it was all right, but then they had Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets, which, other than the Black Album, were probably their two other best albums. On September 27th, 1986, right after they released Master of Puppets, they were actually on tour in England, or Europe, not England. I think it was like Switzerland. But anyways, they were on the tour bus, and tragedy struck in the form of an ice patch. They were driving down the road, and the driver, who was later found out to have been under suspicion of being drunk during the drive, hit a patch of ice. The bus flipped 3 or 4 times and pinned their bassist Cliff Burton under the bus, and he ended up dying. Well, actually, fun fact about the bus ride. They actually that night decided that they were going to draw cards to see who got the better bed in the bunk, and the best bed was Kirk Hammett's. Yeah, it was Kirk Hammett's bunk, and they drew cards, and Cliff Burton actually won to get that bed. So had they not done that, things would have went completely differently, and they probably would have lost their, really good guitarist. But that was a fun fact there. Not really fun, but it was a fact. So they did interviews to get a new bassist, which led them to Jason Newsted, who wasn't really doing anything at the time, anything important, but he's also went on to do some solo work, and really good bassist. Not Cliff Burton, but whatever. All right, so after hiring Jason Newsted as their bassist, the new 4 members of Metallica released their next album, And Justice for All. Another fantastic album. It probably rivals the other two, Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets. But really all of the history, success, and great music that came up until this point was really overshadowed by their next album, which was, of course, the Black Album in 1991. A couple things about this wildly successful album. It cost $1 million to make.
In 91.
In 91. Yeah, so I mean, you think nowadays you can put out an album for $500 with some software on an Apple computer, and you've got an album, a #1 album nowadays. But $1 million to make. It debuted #1 in 10 different countries, and in the first week it sold 600,000 copies, which is completely crazy. It's been certified platinum 16 times, and again, it is the number 20th most sold album completely ever, in the U.S. So again, we're going to go ahead and go into my list. I'm going to rank the 12 songs on this album based on the greatness of them. All right, so starting off with number 12. This was probably the hardest decision I had to make because you really rank. This isn't a top 12. This is me choosing the worst song on this album, which is really hard to do. But it really has to go to The Struggle Within. It does have a really cool drum intro, and you're going to hear this a lot during this top 12 because Metallica they're known for their solos, but every one of their songs has just a very unique and awesome intro to them, whether it's guitar, drum, bass, what have you. The intros just kind of set them apart. So really great there. And this song really is the epitome of thrash metal, especially. Coming into 91, the thrash metal was kind of an 80s thing, but I mean, they still stuck with it, and obviously it done them a world of good. The solo by Kirk Hammett, just astounding. but it's not one of their better ones on the album, again, because this album is stacked with great music. All right, number 11, we're going to go with Don't Tread on Me. This one also has another great intro, mostly by Lars Ulrich. It does have Kirk Hammett doing kind of like a guitar overlay to it. And the main riff is out of this world. Now, I am putting this at number 11. It's kind of high. It would be a lot higher, or lower, I guess, closer to number 1. If it wasn't for James Hetfield's just weak vocals in this one. It still works though, but really you got to knock them off points because they it's almost like they sold out. But I really do love the chorus and the lyrics in this one. It's kind of the American classic with "Don't Tread on Me," the motto. Really, like I said, one of my favorite lyrics in this one is shining with brightness, always on surveillance, the eyes they never close, emblem of vigilance, don't tread on me. So it kind of alludes to the whole the snake thing with don't tread on me. But like I said, it's a great song. It's just, again, this album is completely stacked with great music. Number 10, we've got Through the Never. Another great song that's getting a lot of airplay nowadays. But it's really just a great thrash metal song. The riff is fantastic, of course, and Hetfield's vocals, like most of the songs that he ever puts out up until this point, of course, are really great with this one. And the song would have really been better if Lars Ulrich's drum work was better, but I've always been a critic of Lars Ulrich and his drum work, as a lot of people are. So again, that's why this one's so high. But Through the Never, it's a really good song. All right, so number 9, we've got Holier Than Thou. It's a great song, and it's got a really good message. I mean, we've all had that person in our lives that just kind of seems holier than thou. So it's really something that everybody can understand and get behind. But again, one of the lyrics from this song is point the finger, slow to understand, arrogance and ignorance go hand in hand, which really makes a lot of sense when you think about it, because once you get to that stage of arrogance, you're really ignorant to other people and what you can learn from them. So that's something that I really enjoy about this song. Number 8, this one is going to be controversial, as it probably should be lower on the list, but I'm going to put it at number 8, of Wolf and Man.
Wow.
Yeah, this song has no lyrical qualities to it, but the main riff, the solo, the vocals in it, the bass track, everything is great in this song, except for it's about werewolves. So, about being a werewolf. So, really, there's no lyrical quality to it. But
it's a story, you know. It's kind of an exciting little, like,
okay, sure, you can justify it.
Disturbed, but it's song about being a werewolf too.
Yeah, and Disturbed sucks. Just kidding, people. All right, but yeah, of Wolf and Man, it's just a very groovy track, and not like groovy as a hippie, but it's got a groove to it, and it's just something that you really can't not like about Metallica. Number 7, we're gonna go with "My Friend of Misery." This is another song that I think everybody at some point in your life you can relate to. This song really speaks to me though because of the bass intro. Again, kind of like Lars Ulrich, I've always been a critic of Jason Newsted. He's not as technical as Cliff Burton, and I think maybe just because Cliff Burton was part of Metallica that I kind of have a bias towards anybody else. But this bass intro, it's just amazing. Jason Newsted kind of finally shows up in this album at this point, showing what he can do. Even in Justice for All, he's not there a lot of the time. One of the lyrics that I would like to point out is, you You still stood there screaming, no one caring about these words you tell. My friend, before your voice is gone, one man's fun is another's hell. Which kind of points out the fact that, a lot of times you might feel overshadowed with the ideas and the words that you might be able to convey to other people. But just because somebody's kind of putting you down, you really just kind of have to overcome that and get your ideas out and whatnot. Now, the only reason that this one probably isn't higher in the list for me is the solo. It's really not one of Kirk Hammett's best.
That's the crazy thing is comparing a solo from Kirk Hammett and saying a solo subpar.
Right.
It's still incredible.
If it's a 6 out of 10, that's pretty good.
It's a really good
but
solo. But it's just
everything else is a 9 or a 10 out of 10. So,
but again,
all right. And so number 6, we're going to go with "Wherever I May Roam." It's definitely one of their bigger radio hits, and it for good reason. It's a fantastic song. And as we pointed out with most of these songs, Metallica is all about some good intros, and this one doesn't disappoint on that front. It's kind of got this weird Middle Eastern feel with kind of like a sitar
kind of like
type.
Ween.
Yeah, like a sitar type deal.
Guitar.
And it kind of alludes to the fact that the song, again, is mostly about like being a vagabond and kind of being on the road and not having one home location. The bass track for this song is solid. Nothing too exciting, but it does hold the song together really well, which is kind of what you want from a good bassist. Something that I really enjoy about this is the lyricism, because it's not just like I'm always on the road and I don't have a home. It kind of goes deeper in that. My favorite lyric, though, is, "And the road becomes my bride, eyes stripped of all but pride, so in her I do confide, and she keeps me satisfied." So there's a lot. It kind of reminds me of that Bob Seger song, "Turn the Page," as far as kind of being on the road and kind of being completely stripped down by the road, but it's its own reward, though, kind of being out there and doing what you love. Number 5, we've got "Sad But True." This song is heavy. It's just kind of what you expect from a metal band in the 90s. Again, the intro is absolutely ridiculous. It's one of the more iconic intros. All of them are great, but this one kind of, as soon as that song starts, you know what you're listening to. And like I said, the riff work is amazing. Again, also one of the more known riffs. If you go into any guitar shop, you're going to hear this in "Stairway to Heaven." And again, solid bass work. Again, nothing too flashy, but it just kind of brings the song together in a way. Number 4, probably one of their most known songs, "Inner Sandman." It's dark song. If you've ever been to a sports show, sports game, you've heard this song probably 12 times in that hour and a half, 2-hour period. The bass line is absolutely ridiculous. Probably the best Jason Newsted bass line ever. It's exactly what you want from a good bassist. We have the classic James Hetfield growly vocals. And again, like I said, this is a very dark song, and that is only amplified by the lyric here: "Sleep with one eye open, gripping your pillow tight." It's just amazing how mainstream you can be with dark lyrics like that. But "Inner Sandman" number 3, we're going to go with "The God That Failed." This song, it's probably one of my favorite, but it's not their best song by any means. The bass in this song, Jason Newsted, absolutely over the top. But really, again, the lyrical quality of this song is fantastic. Don't want to get too personal here, but no matter what your views on like religion or anything are, we've all had those moments where whatever you believe, you um, you feel like you've been failed, right? And you know, those kind of tests really made this song what it is today. One of the lyrics that I really found that spoke to me was this one. It says, "I see faith in your eyes. Never you hear the discouraging lies. I hear faith in your cries. Broken is the promise, betrayal, the healing hand held back by the deepened nail." Again, that's very controversial lyrics, especially for the early 90s. But it is something that, I mean, everybody, I mean, whether somebody's died in your life or whatnot, you get those moments where you kind of question it. And this song, like I said, if you haven't heard it, it's not a very popular song by it because you can't really, something like this can't be played on the radio, but definitely check it out. Fantastic song, one of my favorites. All right, number 2, we've got Nothing Else Matters. This is the most emotional and passionate song on this album, maybe even in their discography altogether. The guitar intro is fantastic, like Sad But True, like Inner Sandman, like any of their songs. The intro is ridiculously iconic. You hear it and you know exactly what you're listening to. Hetfield's vocals are kind of weird with this one. You think that of Hetfield, James Hetfield, and you think of deep, growly, that overused that everybody knows. But this song, it's very slow and kind of eerie and soft, which I think is an adjective that's never used in metal when talking about good metal songs. And the bass line sticks out as well. I guess with any slow song, it's going to kind of overpower. But it doesn't overpower in this one.
No, everything blended.
It blends really well. And again, crazy solo. But it doesn't overpower. It's not too much. It still has that Kirk Hammett feel, but it's not, super, deep of a sound to it. It just flows really well.
Way too much.
Right. Number 1. We all knew this was coming. The Unforgiven. This song is powerful. This song is also another slower song. I mean, again, you don't really think of Metallica as a slow band, being one of the pioneers of thrash metal. So it's definitely a welcomed variant of what you hear from Metallica. Lyricism, ridiculous lyricism. Throughout his life the same, he's battled constantly this fight he cannot win. A tired man they see no longer cares.
You never go full retard. You went full retard, man.
And on top of that, I mean, again with the dark and eerie vocals of James Hetfield, and it still doesn't get odd. It's perfect for this type of song. I'd have to say this is probably one of the top 3 Metallica songs ever. But
any song that you can do a second and third part that are still really solid.
Usually you get into a trio of songs and it just kind of gets too much. But I mean, this song, the other parts are just as good. This one's obviously the best, but they're right up there with it. But yeah, top 3 Metallica songs for me, but it's definitely number 1 on the Black Album.
All right, so that's just a little bit of info for you, background on Metallica, and then of course some deeper info on the Black Album itself. Again, we can't stress enough, just a fantastic album. The fact that it's 25 years old and it still holds up this well is it's fantastic. You can't say that about many things that can hold up that well. I've reached past 25 and I'm sick of myself. So for an album to hold up that well, it's just fantastic. Now John's list, here and there may be some disagreements, but I think he's pretty on point with most of what he's saying. His top 5, he's pretty solid. So again, as we've stated earlier, this is all opinion. You say what you want to say and post it in the comments below and let us know what you have opinion. I mean, this album, you're not going to find people that aren't opinionated about it. it's not going to happen. So we'd love to talk to y'all. We'd love to hear about it from kind of your all's opinion on it. Maybe discuss it a little bit more in detail. If for some reason, if you're under 10 years old or something, I don't know. You probably shouldn't be watching this video. There's some reason you've never heard the Black Album. There's links in the description for all these songs here. Pull it up on Spotify, Google Play, whatever music thing you're using. And
Buy the album.
No, well, you have to have a subscription. It's kind of the same thing.
No.
Buy the album.
Buy the album.
Buy it in vinyl, and also buy a record player. And we'll say it that way. Be hipsters about it. But it's a fantastic album. Give it a listen, and just that's all I got to say about it, man. Just go listen to it now. Stop listening to us talking. Go listen to it.